closer to my eye. That's good. And then we're doing it just one. You want one up?
Oh, this one you don't need.
No.
This is for the next one. You will have a full minute and a half before we start, so talk amongst yourselves. We are very timely here at Temple Israel.
Why are they sitting all the way in the back? We gotta make the Alpers sit up. Look at they sitting, they're hiding back. On the left, the Alpers.
They're in the back.
They're kind of in the middle there. They're like floating.
That's okay.
I think you should have a seat of honor, you know?
Well, that is possible. No one likes the friend.
What?
No one likes the friend.
Nobody likes to be in the front.
Yep. All right, you have 30 seconds to tell the person sitting next to you what your Halloween costume would be. If you were trick-or-treating tonight. Or maybe still is. Emmett is trick-or-treating. So talk amongst yourselves. What is your costume? All right, not enough costume talk, so we're just going to begin. Welcome, everyone.
Costume talk.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
This is the first Halloween Shabbat in over a decade. So we are grateful for your presence here when we know that you could be out trick-or-treating or protecting your homes from trick-or-treating. So we're glad to have you with us. And we're going to start on page 10 with a little Hine Matov to get us in the mood. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim 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 shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, yalla la, yalla la 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 la. Hine matov, yalla la, yalla la 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 la. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. So this is not only a special Halloween weekend, but it is also the weekend that Emmett Alper becomes bar mitzvah.
Wow.
So in honor of his special day, we are going to invite his sister Mila to come up and help us with our candle lighting. Did you know you were on the spot? You are in charge, Mila.
She's good, yeah.
She is going to help with our candle lighting and our kiddush. Kid the light.
Candles first.
Where is our magic lighter?
Anybody got a light?
Hold on. Do you actually know how to use matches? All right, Rabbi Michael's going to do the matches.
I'm gonna light the candle. This is gonna be embarrassing.
We're going to help you.
Okay. I'm gonna light the candles. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
my
that's
gosh.
so sad.
We
Hold
have
on.
been tricked.
Hold on. Wait, there's more. There's more. There's more.
Oh,
There's more.
there's a treat. Okay. A double trick.
No.
I'm serious.
Talk amongst yourselves. Hold on a second.
I wouldn't dare out anyone.
Oh, wait. There's more.
Wait.
Oh, I hear something.
Oh.
I hear something. There you go. It does.
Oh,
It's
it
a
does say
sleigh.
sleigh.
It's
All right.
awesome.
Oh, wait, hold on a minute. Oh, there's literally one match left.
Okay. All right.
Oh my God, this is the Mission Impossible moment.
Ha- I know. It's going to be a
Neil, I'm so sorry.
Halloween miracle. Go, Rabbi Michael. Go.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Oh, we spent up the fuel. Oh, no, that didn't happen.
Guys, just don't laugh.
Nope, that didn't happen.
We won't out anyone who's a smoker, but does anyone? Oh, you do. Oh, great. I know you're not a smoker. I know
No,
you just have
she's
candles around. Oh, mercy.
Got a strong affection for scented candles, I understand.
You do not. She's just kidding. It's terrible. Oh wait, we have another one.
Okay.
Now we'll pretend I didn't know that about you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Use this one.
Give the child safety lock. All right. Let's see if it works. Yeah, that's the intensity. See if you can click it. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. All right, so Mila, will you take the glass, lift it up real high? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim atazoy.
You can take a sip if you want to. Just
It's apple juice.
it did.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Yay, that's a chal.
Do you want to grab a piece? Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Beautiful. Nicely done. Thank you, ma'am. If anyone would like to
Thank you, I
donate to the
appreciate it.
Matches Fund,
Yes.
we are more than happy to accept donations. All right, so every time that we come together, not just on Halloween, we believe that something a little magical happens. We believe that into our midst come angels who are here to celebrate with us. And so we welcome those angels every time we come together with the words of Shalom Aleichem that can be found on page 24.
Night of tricks and treats.
Indeed.
Say, a night of tricks.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vo'achem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ani L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so I'll ask you now to please turn to page 28 and rise as we call each other to worship with the words of the Baruch Hu. Yai da dai 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 dai. Yai da dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai da dai 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 dai.
with our service on page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. And we read responsively on the bottom of 33, wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works in the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And we join in Shema on page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'elem asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitzecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam la'ot al yadecha, v'hayu la'totafot b'neinecha, uv'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha, leman tizkeru, v'asitem et kol mitzvotai. V'tem kedoshim leloechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. We read together on the top of 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We join in Micha Mocha on page 40. Micha Mocha, Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Nedor Vakodesh, Norat Zilot, Osei Fele, Norat Zilot, Osei Fele. You to now turn to 46 and rise if you are able to join us in words of tefillah. Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi agita yilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel. הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים והופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הקום. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Please be seated.
On page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
And we join together on the top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha olcha na'ed lahodot. And we continue now with a prayer for peace on page 60 with the words of Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav, Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Ki ata melech adon, lechol shalom. Ki ata melech adon, lechol shalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol etz u'b'chosha, b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav, Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. So we're going to turn in our prayer books now to page 253. And we take this time, as we do in every service, to think about those in our community who are in need of healing prayers. So if there's someone who you are thinking of at this time who is ill in their body, ill in their spirits, and you'd like to share their names with us, we invite you to do so at this time. we're thinking too of Eric Ashe and of Glenn Figgis and Harold Garber, of Carl Greenberg, Mike Henson, Nathan Levinson, and Drew Patchen, of Reva Roberts and Bob Rosenfeld, of Rochelle Silverly, of Kennedy Smith and Harriet Snyder, of Blair Vilmetti and Lisi Weinstein. So thinking of each of them and the names that we keep in our hearts, we sing these words of Misha Berach on 253. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor Abraha Laimotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor Abraha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimroma, uya ase shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. So tomorrow morning, when Emmett becomes bar mitzvah, he is going to read, he's going to chant for us from Parshat Lech Lecha. And this is the Torah portion where Abraham and Sarah are chosen and they become the first Jews. But, and I'm not going to give away his whole Devar Torah, but you will learn, if you do not already know this, that it's not exactly clear why Abraham is chosen to be the first Jew. And so Jewish tradition, the rabbis of our past work very hard to make up some stories to see if they can explain what it is that made him so worthwhile. And the most famous one, this midrash that actually is so well known that most people think it's really in the Torah, it talks about what happens when Moses was a little boy. And it tells this story that says that when Moses was little, his father Terach, he owned a shop that sold idols, that sold statues that people could pray down to. And Abraham was very smart. And he knew that those idols were not really gods, that if you prayed to them, there was really nothing that they could do. And so the story says that one day when Abram's father Terach was out and about, what Abraham did is he took a big stick and he went and he bashed and smashed every single idol in the shop except for one. And in that one leftover idol, he put the stick in that idol's hands. So when his dad came home and is like, Abram, oh my gosh, what did you do? Abram's like, it wasn't me, it was that guy, right? Abram's father is like, that's ridiculous, Abram. You know, there's no way that an idol could do that, at which point Abram says, aha, See, you knew, in fact, that there is nothing that an inanimate object could actually do. And so because of this, we know that this is why Abraham is chosen to become the first Jew, the first monotheist. And it's also from this that we know that, in fact, idols cannot do anything, that inanimate objects cannot come to life except that one time. So since it's Shabbat Halloween, and this only happens every decade or so, I decided this would probably be the good night to actually tell that story. And Emmett, there is also a real connection to you, which you will find out soon if you don't know it yet. This is the story of the golem. Now, you may have heard of the golem before. The golem is a very ancient idea of taking earth, taking dirt, and making it into some sort of creature, and then bringing it to life so that it can do your bidding. And this is a very, very ancient Jewish idea. Some people actually say that Adam himself was the first golem because God made Adam out of clay and then brought him to life. But this is an idea that has been so popular that I promise you, you have seen many movies that are about the golem, even if you didn't know it. It's really what Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is about. It's what Terminator is about. I mean, there are so many movies that are about the idea of creating some sort of monster that you think will do your bidding, but in the end, it's not going to turn out so well. Now, the most famous of all of these golem stories, this is the golem of Rabbi Judah Loew. And in this particular golem story, it takes place in the 16th century in Prague. This was not a very good time to be a Jew. And in the Jewish community there, the people were very much at risk. They were particularly at risk of blood libel, but this was just an awful time. The government, which had actually been like somewhat friendly to the Jewish community before that because the Jewish community kept giving them money, but now their luck had sort of run out, and the Jewish people were very, very scared. There had already been pogroms, there had already been violence, and they knew that they were at risk. And Rabbi Judah, as the leader of the community, he had to do something. Now, Rabbi Judah Loew is a very famous rabbi. We often call him the Maharal because all of the really cool rabbis get some sort of acronyms. We're waiting for ours, by the way, if you want to come up with some cool acronym for us. But the Maharal was really amazing because he wasn't just a rabbi, he was also a philosopher, he was also an alchemist, and he was a Kabbalist. He was a Jewish mystic. You know, when we first became rabbis, like 20 years ago, people were talking about Kabbalah all the time because Madonna was still really into it, and that was when Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher were together. They were into it also. People don't talk about Kabbalah much anymore, but the basic idea of Kabbalah, of Jewish mysticism, is really about the idea of being able to use language to make magic things happen. Because we believe that even in the creation of the world, God spoke. God says, let there be light, and there is light. And so much of the idea of Kabbalah and mysticism is that if you say just the right words and just the right permutation of letters, you can make something magical happen, even create something from nothing. So Rabbi Judah Loew, the Maharal, he is an expert at this. He is a true Kabbalist and a true mystic. And he decides that the only way that he can protect his people is to create for them a golem and to bring it to life. So he goes down to the banks of the river. I keep practicing how to say this, and I'm going to say it incorrectly. So it's like the Vltava. I don't know. In German, it's the Moldau. I don't know how to say it in Czech. But he goes down to the river. He goes to the banks of the river, and he molds out of the clay this giant human being sort of structure, but really a giant. And he says all of the right magic words. The last magic words he says, by the way, of course, are abracadabra, which is Aramaic for I shall speak and I will create. So he says abracadabra, and then the last thing he has to do, and this is where it comes to our bar mitzvah boy, is he writes a magic word on the golem's forehead. He writes the words Aleph, Mem, Taf, which is Emet. Now, Emet is not just our bar mitzvah boy. Emet means truth. And there's something about this moment when he writes Emet on the golem's forehead that this brings the golem to life. Now, the golem's main job is to protect the Jewish people. And he does a great job of that. But the truth is there's not actually that much protecting that you have to do. So the rest of the time, the golem is just kind of hanging out in Prague. And sometimes different stories say that he is helping with the housework, which is actually, if you think about it, a kind of an amazing idea, because in traditional Judaism, men have men's roles and women have women's roles, and women are usually taking care of the home. But because the golem is not really a man, it's actually okay for him to do household chores. So all the women in Prague are very excited that they have this giant, very strong, mud man who can help them out. There are also some versions of the story that say that sometimes the golem would just sit there quietly and he would listen to Torah. But I already sort of told you the end of the story when I told you that this was like Frankenstein. You should not be surprised. It doesn't turn out well. At some point, something happens with the golem, and he starts to run amok. Now, different stories explain why this happened. Some of them say that maybe he was spending so much time with the ladies that he actually fell in love with one of them. There's another version of the story that says actually he had been studying, hearing all this Torah so much that somehow it sparked something in him and he developed a soul and he just had to go and be something more than just this lump of clay that he was. But whatever it is, the golem becomes more than just a golem. And instead of just protecting the people anymore, now he starts doing things and really being sort of out of control. And so the Maharal, Rabbi Judah Loew, knows that he has to stop the golem. And so what he does is he convinces the golem to come with him to the synagogue, to the Alta Neue Shul. And if you ever go to Prague, by the way, when you go and visit the Alta Neue Shul, you can actually see still on the outside of this synagogue that there are these very strange, it looks kind of like a ladder, a weird ladder on the outside of the synagogue that leads straight up to the attic. And so the story is that the golem climbs up the ladder, meets Rabbi Judah Loew in the attic, and at that point, Rabbi Judah Loew looks at his creation, looks at the word emetz on his forehead, and takes his finger, am I doing this backwards? Yes, and wipes off the aleph. Because while emet means truth, if you take away the aleph, met is how we say death in Hebrew. And so by taking away the aleph, the golem was no more. Now, even this part of the story, there are many versions of what happened to the golem after that. There are some versions of the story that said that actually the golem is still up there, and there are all sorts of wonderful historical mysteries about there of different rabbis who went up there and came down very afraid and saw him. There is a story that actually says that the Nazis discovered the golem up there and somewhere took him and used him for their own purposes. My very favorite book in the entire world is called The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. And in that book, Michael Chabon says that actually the golem somehow found his way to America. And lastly, there are some who believe that simply when that aleph went away, that the golem just went back to being dust. We'll never really know what is going to happen, what has happened to the golem, and perhaps the golem is actually just waiting there for us until we need him again. But like all stories, we know that when this story was written that there must have been some sort of a purpose. There must have been some sort of moral or lesson that we were supposed to gain from this. Some people think that maybe just like last week when we talked about the Tower of Babel, that this is a story about hubris, that this is about the idea that humans should not think that we're godlike and that somehow we can create something like God could. Some people look at this and say that this is a teaching that still relates very much to our modern day, because sometimes when we, the Jewish people, are afraid, sometimes we put power in the hands of people or ideas that should not have it, believing that we will be protected when in fact we're not. But what I would like to say is that maybe the story here, the meaning of the story, actually should take us back to Abraham. Because here's the thing. In the story of Abraham, in this Torah portion that we're going to hear tomorrow, Abraham is called to be the first Jew, and then Sarah becomes the second. But by the end of the Torah portion, all of these people have become Jewish. And they haven't become Jewish because of any sort of magical powers or any power that they thought they could have. Instead, they become Jewish because they believe that there is something wonderful and good here. And they are willing to follow Abraham and Sarah, even though it must have been a terrifying time to choose a new faith that was different from anywhere else. They somehow believed that we should just be Jewish and that will be enough. That we will be able to protect ourselves and, like Abraham and Sarah did, go out and build a new future so that they could be blessed and others could be blessed by them. So maybe instead of waiting for a golem to save us or trying to create one ourselves, instead we just go back to the lesson of Abraham and believe that if we can be the best Jews and the best people we can be, that somehow we will be protected and we will continue to be blessed. Shabbat Shalom and Happy Halloween. So I'll ask you now, if you will, to please rise, and we are going to turn to the Aleinu on page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'artzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama. Shelo samchakenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. On 287, may we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair.
Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu. Bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. So we take a few moments now and recall with love the names of those taken from us in recent days. And our hearts go out to their families in sympathy as we recall their names: Barbara Holtz, David Lieberman, and Mark Turkin. And we now recall the names of those, the anniversary of whose death occurs on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the wall of honor for perpetual memorial: Sophie Berliner Aredo, Louis Berkowitz, David Bloomberg, Todd Cohn, Michael Cutter, Beatrice Edison, Abram Farber, Ida Pokris Goldberg, Melville Griebel, Rose Greenberg, Edith Liss Grober, Rose Gross, Stanley Hahn, Jeannie Hardy, Adele Obermeyer Hirschberg, Lily Holtzman, Dora Heikens, Pauline Shukot-Jacks, Susan Jacobs, Dr. Jack Hayes, Gladys Miriam Chrisman, Kate Ladney, J. M. Lawton, Louis Loebner, Irene E. Lowy, Marvin Jean Marshall, Dorothy Hartman Meyerson, William Stix-Milius, Saul Mogerman, Dr. Charles Redderer, David Rickensall, Harry Ritchie, Dr. Marvin Roskin, Adolph Samuel, Norma Mae Scallett, Joe Schneiderman, Benjamin Miller Schuline, Miriam Schwartz, Shirley Cohn Schweig, Lottie Sherman, Mary Siegfried, Harry Smith, Dr. Harry M. Sorkin, Dr. Samuel David Sewell Sr., Dinah Rice Sticks, Edwin Tarl, Dustin Terwilliger, Myron Wally Waldman, Henry Weil, Dr. Stuart Weiss, Aladar Wildman, David Wool, Bernard Yowitz, and Dr. Louis G. Zelson. So with these names and the names we keep in our hearts, we turn to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach niruteh v'amlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'adalah uvizman kariv v'emru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudasha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, ta'amiran ba'alma v'emru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'emru amen. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. Please be seated. So a few quick announcements before we turn to our closing song. First, in 2 weeks on Veterans Day, we have a special program after services. We hope you'll join us for that to hear some words from Marine veteran Elise Goldberg. We also have a class coming up on the Jewish afterlife, so that should be interesting as well in a few Sundays. We also want to remind you that we are doing Thanksgiving dinner for people in need a little bit different this year, and so you can learn a little bit more about it on our website. But what I really just want to make sure that I'm bringing everyone's attention to is that obviously this is a difficult time for many people in our community who are dealing with scarcity, especially in terms of food. So please know the best way that you can help people in need in this community is to donate to the Harvey Kornblum Jewish Food Pantry. This is what they do, and they do it beautifully. If you bring it to us, we will take it to them, and we're delighted to do that as well. So we hope that you will turn to them, but we also did send you an email just with some other ways to give if you are so inclined to do that. So for our closing song, if you turn to page 339.
Can I just say also that all of our B'nai Mitzvah students volunteer at the Harvey Kornblum?
Indeed they do. Indeed they do. So our closing song is on 339. And this song, I will tell you that when I learned it at Jewish summer camp, that after each verse, you went like this. So I always thought that it was because it was scary, but it's actually not scary at all.
They just
I don't know why they did that. So in my head, it's a scary song, but it's really not scary. But it's really actually a beautiful message. The words are, the song is called Gesher Tsar Ma'od, and the words are Kol ha'olam kulo Gesher Tsar Ma'od. The entire world is but a narrow bridge. The important thing, though, is not to be afraid. So we're going to try this one. You don't have to do this spooky ooze if you don't want to, but
she might be disappointed.
I might.
A little bit higher?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
And on a high note.
And then yeah. Kol ha'olam kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Kol ha'olam kulo. You got to do it. Ooh, Gesher Tsar Me'od. One more time. Ooh, Gesher Tsar Me'od. V'ha'ikar, v'ha'ikar, lo lefached klav. V'ha'ikar, v'ha'ikar, lo lefached klav. Yalai, 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 Shabbat Shalom and Happy Halloween. Ooh, I like that one.
Das ist
Let's
die
do that
Yontif.
again.
Eine gewaltige Yontif.